Thank you for joining us today, this very, very hot Wednesday. It doesn't look like the next few weeks are going to be just a whole lot better. So enjoy the indoors today with us. I'm Gina Woodward. I'm the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center at West Texas A&M University. And you're here for Lunch Club. It's a monthly webinar that we offer in partnership with our sister department at West Texas A&M, the WT Enterprise Center. Our goal with these is to spend about an hour with you and hope that by the time we're done with that hour, you have learned a new skill that you can implement in your business right away. There's not much that makes me angrier when I have a busy day, when I sit in training and I just hear people talk about things. I want to learn how to do something. So that's our goal here today. You're going to learn what kind of financing you could apply for. And joined us last month for the webinar for Lunch Club. You learned how to apply for financing. All right, we have got a little bit less than an hour left, and we have got 4 experts joining us, and I want to make sure we've got plenty of time to learn about the different types of financing options that are available. So we're going to jump right in. Just real quick, we will have time for Q&A at the end. Brian and Quintin, who you're about to meet, will not be able to stay that long, but you will get to talk with Rigo and Tracy. If you have questions specific to Brian and Quintin as they present, I encourage you to either type your question into chat, or if you need to unmute to ask it, you are welcome to do that. All right, first up is my counterpart here at West Texas A&M at the Enterprise Center. He's right down the hallway from me, Brian Enevoldsen. Brian, thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gina, and the panel, and most of all, the folks watching from the comfort of your home. So as we get into this conversation, I'm sure you're going to hear some repeated things as we all kind of look for similar things. But today, the Enterprise Center is here to talk about the PRPC microloan program that we manage. Panhandle Regional Planning Commission, a few years back, funded by the USDA, started 2 different loan amounts, 2 different loan programs, one for the Potter, Randall County, and then one for the 24 counties outside of that. So we have 2 funds available. Again, it just depends on where you're located, but both of those accounts actually have money in them right now, ready to be loaned. So on our side, what a microloan is. A microloan is a type of loan where it's non-traditional. It's not a bank, it's not a credit union, it's not the Small Business Administration. However, it is still a loan. Some people get that mistaken as a grant. No, we still do want that paid back so that we can keep loaning money out to others in the program. But a microloan, you might have a history of maybe some bad credit choices along the way. Maybe the business is just starting and there's not really proven financials. Maybe you don't really have the greatest credit score. Maybe there's something in your history, whether business or personal, where a bank is just not quite there yet with you. We are not looking to take the place of traditional lending. At the Enterprise Center, we tell all of our clients a relationship with a great banking partner is essential to scaling a business beyond what you're capable of doing alone. You are capable of bootstrapping it. You know, we hear that a lot here in West Texas, where people want to do it on their own accord and they don't want help from anybody. I say that's phooey. You've bought into the lie that it's not beneficial, that we're not here to help you, that we're just in it for ourselves. I can attest to any of the other experts on here today. All of us want to see you successful, and your success is ultimately our success. We get judged and merited by that, which is why we want to see you utilize the programs and the money available to you. So on the microloan side, it's more of a process. Sometimes people misunderstand that you can come in and I will open my floor safe and just hand you money. That's Rodrigo over at A&B, right? That is not the case. No, I'm just kidding, Rodrigo. He's gonna say you're getting me in trouble. None of us can do that. We don't have access to cash or gold bars. What we will dive into is more of a history of the business. So very early on, I want to figure out with anyone who's interested, is it a good fit? because you might actually be bankable. You might actually go find a better interest rate or a loan with a line of credit that we can't do here with the PRPC's microloan. But what we're interested in is a brief history of the business. And if you're just starting, that's fine too. Give me the brief history of why you want to start this business. What makes you the entrepreneur, the owner that's going to be successful in this? Whether you were your own massage therapist at a different parlor and now you want to go to a different place and start your own deal, and you have your own resume and certifications in massage therapy that sets you up to start the business successful from day one. We want to know that stuff. We want to feel confident that what you're trying to do is actually obtainable. Not to say that we are the perfect measure of what could be successful or what can't, but we are looking for some very white and black things. That looks like previous personal finances, financials for the business, as well as projections. I will shout out a quick plug to the SBDC. If you're unfamiliar with their office, you should be familiar with them. They're a great resource for business owners and aspiring business owners, specifically in regard to this on the financial projections. It is very, very difficult to shake the magic 8 ball and say, we're going to be successful and we're going to make this much money. But they have a very, very refined process of taking you through your expenses and what you anticipate to get in business, how you're going to go after that business, and your chances of being successful and hitting those projections. And I will tell you, folks that look at this stuff all day long, we will know whether or not you had some assistance with this and you really thought through your projections, or if you just threw some numbers out there. And I know it's homework, and I know it's extra work and hard work to do that right. But I promise you, not just from the lending's perspective, but the actual getting into the business, you probably can't do anything more important than make sure that the road ahead looks good. And we want to make sure that you are confident in that as well. So we'll want some historical financials on you and the business. If you're buying a franchise and you're just starting, we can look at some franchise data compared to other franchises in similar markets. We can do a lot of different things with that, but we will look at numbers, and we're interested in numbers. Second to that is tax returns. You know, we want 3 years of personal tax returns as well as tax returns for the business. That's not so that we can get your personal financial information and judge your finance decisions. I assure you that's not anyone's intent. Some people are a little hesitant when they start realizing that they're going to have to share some information. But what you're asking for is a loan, and we have to do right by the program that we manage. And so we're going to look to see what the history has been. And also in view of that, we're looking to see if the business doesn't go well, can you personally cover the loan yourself, whether that's a 401k or a CD or stocks, something that is liquidable that you can turn into cash to cover whatever outstanding balance you may have. The next is really just, what are you trying to do with the money? You know, every business needs money, but have you really thoroughly sat down and thought about the dollar amount you're asking for? You know, some people come in and they'll say, well, I don't really know what I need. Well, that's kind of step one, is figuring out what do you need in terms of money, and what does that change in the business? I think all of us would be interested in seeing that the money that you're going to get will help you accomplish the new building, the purchase of a new vehicle, the hiring of new employees. What does it do for your business, and how does that translate into dollars, right? We want to see that injection of capital be used correctly and abruptly. We want to see it go straight into the business and get going from day one. So we're going to talk a lot about the project that you're working on. And sometimes that has extra steps too. If it's construction, we might require a few additional things. We want to know that the money could actually accomplish the project that you're going for. But in summary, in terms of the microloan, you can get up to $40,000 that can be used for a wide variety of things, everything from capital purchases like equipment, vehicles, tools, tangible items that we can hold and retain value with, all the way to payroll. Maybe you're looking to hire an employee or a new employee to take on a role in the company that you need filled and haven't had success in getting the money to fill it yet. We can help with that. But I guess in conclusion, my biggest advice would be go learn about the different lending options like you are today. Be aware of what options are available. I think we are all familiar with one another, and we think we are all going to refer you to one another. If you're not a great fit for us, you might be a great fit for another option. So please don't take no as a no forever, but maybe just a no today, and we can get you to the right person that might be able to help. And then last, I would just really recommend good document and record keeping for your business and your own personal finances. It's a lot of paperwork, and just like buying a home or buying a car, you have to show up prepared with the documents that they're requesting, and not to be bothered or frustrated by that. But again, we want to show up alongside you and get as much information as we can to ensure that once the loan goes through, we're doing you a favor. None of us are doing you a favor and giving you money that doesn't change the business and you have no ability or means to pay back. That's putting you in a really bad financial spot, and that is actually against our fiduciary responsibility as lenders. So we want to be a good steward of the resources, but we also want to be a great partner to the business owner. So thank you for the time, Gina, and participants. And if you are interested in the Enterprise Center microloan, you can visit our website, www.wtenterprisecenter.com, or just give our office a call and we'd be happy to walk you through the process.
Oh, thank you. I did a great job. I think one of the things that we run into the most with clients when we're talking about microloans is that it's called a microloan, so you just assume that means any small loan, 5, 10,000, whatever. No, there really is a difference. It's a special program, and it's really intended to either be the sole source of financing for someone who's maybe just starting up and very risky, maybe has a lower credit score, or it can also be used in conjunction with a traditional loan or other types of financing. So we're very fortunate to have your microloan program here. And there's also some other microloan programs in the area, the TPRDC,
Absolutely.
which is housed at the Amarillo EDC. They've got a microloan. Nonprofit Funder People Fund has a microloan. There's lots of different options out there. So thank you
Yeah,
very much.
thank you for saying that. If you are, sitting in Rodrigo's office and he's like, I can give you 100, but you got to go get the 30 from someone else. We are happy to be that someone else and have seen that be successful. So thank you, Gina. That's awesome.
All right, next up, you're going to get to meet Quintin Marquez. Quintin is with the City Federal Credit Union, where he's the community development manager. He's sort of a local rock star. If you're on social media, I'm sure that you have seen Quintin. He's amazing, and we're definitely lucky to have him in the area. We wanted Quintin to be on to talk about CDFIs and explain what is a CDFI. And they're all slightly different, so we want him to tell you exactly how their CDFI operates. So, Quintin, thank you for being on today.
Thank y'all so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. Sorry I'm not in my office. I'm downtown. You can see that. I apologize. I got a meeting right after this, but it's a little better scenery than my office. This place is. So thank y'all for having me on. As Gina said, I'm actually switching my title to marketing manager. So I'm the marketing manager for City Federal Credit Union, but I also do all of our community development stuff. That includes our CDFI program. So those of you that are not familiar, CDFI stands for Community Development Financial Institution. There's about 400 in Texas, and out of those, I think there's 34 credit unions. And we happen to be the only credit union in the Texas Panhandle that has the certification of CDFI. And what that means is that we get money from the Treasury to lend money out to folks in certain areas of Amarillo. Now, the great thing about being in Amarillo is that they've designated 4 great neighborhoods to be considered underserved. So that's kind of how we figured out who our neighborhoods would be. So if you go to my slides, are you on my slides? Sorry, if you go to my slides, you'll see the 4 neighborhoods that we really try to target. North Heights, San Jacinto, East Ridge, and the Barrio. Now, if your business is in either of these neighborhoods, or if you're looking to invest in any of these neighborhoods, you are a perfect candidate for our CDFI program. We also have a microloan similar to, I guess, WT Enterprise Center. We do 50,000. But basically, the way Brian said it is kind of the way we do it. We want to know your story. We want to know your financial situation. We want to know your business plan. That way, we can get you the help that you need as far as a micro loan or micro business loan. But if you live in those neighborhoods, that's perfect. If you don't live in those neighborhoods, or your business is not in those neighborhoods, we can still do business with you. We can do business with anybody throughout the city. But those 4 neighborhoods are kind of our niche, is where we try to target. And the reason for that is we want to see these underdeveloped or underserved areas be as popular and be as prosperous as every other neighborhood in Amarillo. And so that's kind of our bread and butter, is where we go into these neighborhoods and try to just help these folks out so they could be just like every other neighborhood in Amarillo. And it's great to see that every neighborhood in Amarillo that we interact with has their own unique identity. No 2 neighborhoods are the same in Amarillo. That's just great to see. And so City Federal just wants to be part of that and kind of invest in the people, not only the people, the businesses in those areas.
Very nice. Quintin, you've got a question in chat. Becca asked, what if the business owner lives in Hamlet, but the business is in the Olsen area?
Let's talk. I'm sure we can figure something out. Hamlet's really close to North Heights. That's a great thing about doing the CDFI program. I've been familiar with almost every single neighborhood in Amarillo, so I can tell you where they're at and how close they are to our designated areas. So we can certainly help out folks that have businesses in Hamlet. It's close enough to North Heights. I believe that we could cater to their needs.
Very nice. Thank you. Quintin, with CDFIs, and there are, just as with microloans, there's some other CDFIs around. There's one more that's actually in Amarillo, and then there's another one that we work with out of Lubbock. So none of these options that you see today, they're not exclusive. We always want the best fit for you. What do you see with CDFIs with y'all's? Is there a typical credit score that you're looking for? And are there any industries in particular that you want or that you can't do business with?
Well, the great thing about City Federal is before we even became a CDFI, we started going off what's called a member score, not just a credit score. Now, a credit score is a specific number based off your credit, whether or not you get a loan or not. Your member score is looking at the number, but what's around that number? How long have you been in business? How well is your business doing? What do you see in the future? Just, we want to hear your story and see the reason why the number. So if the number isn't as high as it should be, we could probably help you get there by different programs that we have. And so it's not about just having that number and we give you an automatic no. We want to know that your story, your business's story, and we want to figure out how to get you to the number we can get you at. That way we can do some business with you. And I would like to stress, even if you are not eligible or able to get a loan right then and there with either City Federal Access, A and B, it's a really good idea to go ahead and get an account with these folks, because I mean, it's great to have a relationship with any financial institution, and we would love to start a relationship with any business out there. That way, later on, maybe you're not a fit for one of our microloans right now, but here in 6 months, a year, we could definitely help you out.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why really all 4 of you are on here. I appreciate the emphasis that you put on getting to know the people that you work with. I don't feel like you're there to just push a product. You're there to do what's best for the person. And whether that's with you, someone else, a different product than they thought they needed, that's what you're there to do, is help people, because really they're your friends and neighbors. We all live here. So thank you.
If you pull up the last slide on there, but before the thank you one, I believe there's a picture of me and it has all my information. If anybody wants to screenshot that, that is a picture of me. It was 30 pounds ago, but that is a picture of me. But my number and email are on there. Please, if you have any questions, if you want to do business with us, please reach out.
Absolutely. And then after we are finished today, tomorrow, you'll all receive a recording of the webinar, as well as contact information for all of the presenters, in case you want to get in touch with them about doing business.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Double check. We do have a question. I've got a couple of questions for you right quick.
Okay.
Annie asked, are CDFIs available for rural businesses?
Yeah, we could definitely look into that. Underserved areas are beyond Amarillo, so we could do business with anybody in a rural area. We've actually done some business with folks in Hereford and Borger, Pampa, Dalhart. So we could do business with anybody. I mean, we're a closed circuit credit union, but we can find a way to do business with almost anybody.
Very nice. Thank you. And Pedro mentioned that he's not able to see the screen. Are you all able to see it?
We see the city federal building.
Oh. Annie says she cannot either. We will also include the slides in the email. And I just went back one to see if it'll refresh with Quintin's info, but it will be in the email if it doesn't refresh for you. Thank you for letting me know that. One more question for you from Carrie, and this may just be a good one for everybody. Is there any particular assistance available for construction loans?
As far as a city federal credit union, ours is mainly a micro loan. I'm not sure if you could do really like I don't know if we could do any like brick and mortar to where we build you a whole building. But if you need like equipment or something that's able to help your business out in some way, we could definitely help you out with that. Because typically credit unions aren't really used to doing business loans. It's very new to the credit union world. I know City Federal has never done that before. We got our CDFI. We never did any kind of micro business loans before. It's typically not in the wheelhouse of credit unions, but we're happy to get this program started and get it going.
Nice. Rigo, Tracy, do either of you have anything to add to the question about construction loans?
Yes, we do construction loans. As Quintin mentioned, most credit unions don't do business lending. Access is the only credit union in the Panhandle area that will do a full commercial loan, including construction loans, not just a micro loan. And so we're more than happy to help y'all out. I know A and B does as well. We just want to make sure we're the right fit for you. So glad to talk to you about that as well.
Perfect.
And I'll get deeper into it once it's my turn as well. But yes, we do construction loans. We do require a 20% down payment, but we do also team up with the SBA, and it's called an SBA 504 loan, which they help you with a 10% down payment, but it is a loan as well. So you're technically getting a loan from the bank and another loan from the SBA. And then now instead of putting 20% down, you just put down 10%. But it is something that we definitely do all the time.
Very nice. Thank you. All right, well, you got to, and thank you, Quintin. Quintin's got another meeting that he's speaking at, so he's going to hop off right quick. But again, you'll get his information and his slides in case they're not loading for you. Next up is Tracy Shea. Tracy is the new business development officer for Access Credit Union, but we've actually known Tracy much, much longer. He was previously a consultant with the Small Business Development Center here in our office, so he's very familiar with both startups and existing businesses, and in particular, their financing needs and really how things work on your side as the business owner, not just his side as the person providing the financing. So I'm really glad to have you here today, Tracy. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. So I'm not seeing the slides changing, so I'm just going to describe
I'm
what
going to
we've got.
stop share and restart.
Okay. Thank you very much. So as Gina mentioned, I'm Tracy Shea. I'm the Business Development Officer at Access Community Credit Union. And there we go. That looks like me. And we would love to have the opportunity to serve you today. I'm going to talk about lines of credit. And lines of credit are, I think, one of the easiest ways to think about them is they're a hybrid or maybe halfway between a loan and a credit card. And so most people are very familiar with loans, and if not, you'll get more familiar in a minute when Rigo talks. But some of the characteristics of a loan are you have a fixed beginning and end of time, you have a fixed payment amount, a fixed fee structure, you know what you're paying up front. There's a lot of consistency in it, and that can be really good. And then in exchange for that consistency, you're hopefully, oh, there's my slides. Thank you, Gina. You're getting a low to a moderate interest rate, but you can budget around it. That's one of the best and most important things to think about as you're thinking about a loan, is I can build a budget around this. I know what that money is going to be. On the other side of the spectrum is a credit card. If you can go to the next slide, if it'll go forward. A credit card is borrowed money, but it's not a loan. And so you don't know how much your payment is going to be, except to, you can do the math if you want to, but it's not easy to keep up with credit card math. The balance and the payment is different based upon the amount of balance that you're carrying, or say the payment is different based upon the amount you're carrying on your credit card. It changes as you use it. The fees are disclosed, but oftentimes hard to understand. That's one of the hallmarks of credit cards, is lots of fees and penalties and high interest rates. And most people don't actually understand how their balances are calculated or what their payment is going to be from month to month. And so while credit cards are easy, they're also easy to get stuck in. The entire system is designed to keep you paying more penalties, more fees, and more interest. And so when you look between those two extremes, in the middle is a line of credit, and it has some characteristics of each. And for many businesses, this is a great resource to have. And I've designed this particular line of credit to be super easy for small businesses to help with cash flow. And some of the characteristics of the line of credit are, it's like a credit card in that you start paying interest when you have a balance, and you stop paying interest when you don't have a balance. Your payment will change from month to month based upon how much you've borrowed, if you're carrying a balance. But you only make payments if you're carrying a balance. Now, there are some lines of credit out there in the world that charge you to open, or charge you just to have the option for a line of credit. We don't do that. We just want it to be there as a resource for you. Lines of credit typically have slightly higher interest rates than loans, but we've kept this one intentionally low. So we would call it a low to moderate, but it's always going to be cheaper than a credit card. And so you get the benefits of a credit card without having all the fees and penalties. And it's super easy to apply for. And so if you can go to the next slide, if it'll work. This line of credit is designed, and if not, that's okay, Gina, don't have to restart every time. This line of credit is designed for, for small businesses who need inventory support or equipment or repairs. And so as you're running your business, if let's say you run a coffee shop, if your espresso machine goes down, you are in trouble. And you probably don't need to go to the bank and get $50,000 or $100,000 for a loan. But if you don't have the money, then your only other option most of the time is either vendor financing, which is even more expensive than credit cards, or using a credit card. When our line of credit is designed to be that option where you can buy inventory, make small repairs. Like let's say you have a truck, you get in an accident, but it's not totaled, you need a front end redone. You can get your line of credit. Our line of credit can help you pay for that. It's also designed to be, like I said, for the right sized credit for the right expense. And so the hallmarks of this particular line of credit are what you see here. It's up to $10,000. So we're not talking about a ton of money. It's not a check that I want to write out of my pocket, but for a business, $10,000 is not a big expense. We do require a 4% security deposit, and I'll explain that in a minute and why it's important. But this is the super easiest thing that you're going to find as far as access to credit. This is tacked onto the end of a checking account. So you'll get a checking account with us, you have a debit card, and it just works as backup for your debit card. As I mentioned, there's only interest on the balance you carry. No balance equals no payment. And when you do have a balance carried, the minimum payment is either $25 or 2% of the amount that's carried, whichever is greater. So easy to qualify for, easy to understand, and super helpful on your cash flow. And if you don't know yet, you'll find out very soon from talking to the SBDC. Cash flow is everything when it comes to keeping the business going. If you can go to the next slide, please. So the way you would apply for this line of credit is at our website, accesscreditunion.com. This is for both for-profits and nonprofits. So if we have any nonprofits on the call, we recognize your need for cash flow as well, and we'd be glad to support you. A lot of small businesses have still not made that switch to having a full set of business financials and being able to communicate all the capabilities of your business in the terms of the numbers, and you haven't established a business credit score yet. And so because of that, we're going to primarily look at the business owner's financials, but we do consider your business financials if you have them. And so we're going to look at your regular credit score, and we're going to, just like you would underwrite any type of individual personal loan, but then as an additional boost potentially to your application, if you've got good numbers on your business financials, we'll also look at that. We're looking for people with good credit, and that number varies depending on who you are and what your situation is. But we're also looking for 1 year in business as the minimum. But if you have some bruises to your credit, or you've been in business less than 1 year, we have options to make that qualification still go through. As Quintin said, we're all about the relationship in credit union land. And if we know what the situation is, we're very glad to work with your situation and make it work for you. If you go to the next slide, please. So how you would use this, as I mentioned, it's tied to a checking account. So, and this is a scenario. You've got $1,000 in your checking account, but you want to make a purchase for $3,500. So when you swipe the debit card, if you have your line of credit attached and open, then we're going to process that payment even though you're way over your balance. So we would take the first $1,000 out of your account, bring that balance to zero, but not overdraw you. And then the next $2,500 to finish the purchase would go onto your line of credit. No additional fees for that, no additional asking, nothing else to do. It just happens automatically. Your payment on that line of credit, the $2,500, would be $50, which is 2% of your outstanding balance. And then the next time you put money back into your checking account, it's your money. We're not taking it to pay off a line of credit. This is still, it's all about supporting your cash flow. And so you get to keep your money in your checking account. And then when it's time to make your payment for your line of credit, you either use our online banking or our app, or come into an office or send us a check. And then you can pay that down separately. So you can keep your operating balance in your checking account like you need to, but when you have an extra expense, you can still flex it out and use the same card. You don't need to go through a whole bunch of approval process to get it going. So the next slide, please. So how the security deposit works is another layer of protection to help small businesses not to get themselves into a situation, and to help the owner so they don't ruin their credit. So whatever amount you're approved for, we're going to require that you put a 4% deposit into an interest-bearing savings account. So it's your money, you're earning interest on it, but we're going to hold on to it for those oops moments, for those just in case situations. So if you happen to miss a payment, then what we're going to do is we're going to use that security deposit to make your payment. And that way we don't have to report you as late right away on your commercial loan. And so let's say that happens, and you've got $400 sitting in an account, you've got a $50 payment. We're going to take the $50 and then we're going to lock down your line of credit because we have to cover our risk as well. As soon as you pay that $50 back and bring your security deposit back up to the full strength, we release the line of credit and you've got your full line of credit back available. But we didn't hit your credit bureau and call you late because we paid that out of your reserve. And so as you get further and further into developing your business and developing business credit, having a perfect payment history is very important. And so we want to make sure we give you that extra layer of protection. And then the next slide, please. So as Quintin also mentioned, as far as building the relationship, we don't have a particular member score. We keep track. I sit on a loan committee. We look at your personal payment history, your business payment history, all the things that go into your overall bankability. But we do larger commercial lending, and so we can finance your building, we can finance your truck, we can finance all the things that your business needs. And we're not always just going to look at your credit score. We're going to look at the total repayment history you've had with us and with other people. But if you've kept your line of credit and you've shown us that you can pay back, this is a great pathway to larger loans. And so that's what I've got. We could talk all day, but I don't want to take all the time available. But I do want to give you my information. Are you going to send that out, Gina, in an email so they have our contact? Okay, great. I'll be glad to answer your questions either now or at the end. But we would love the opportunity to work with you and help you build financial security. Thank you.
You, Tracy. For me, what lines of credit have always boiled down to with clients, if I'm working with someone and they need something that they're going to have paid off in 12 months or less, and that rolling something like inventory, that's where I really push people towards the line of credit, like you mentioned. If it's an asset or any other purchase that's going to take more than 12 months to pay off, that's where we push you more towards a loan. So to me, that's what it's always boiled down to.
We've found that's generally speaking a good fit. What a lot of folks like about this is they apply for it once and it just sits in the background because you can't always foresee I'm going to need $8,000 in 6 months. And instead of having to stop and go through that whole application process, once it's done and it just sits in the background. And so we've had a lot of businesses really enjoy that as an option.
No, and it's something great to have there. If you need to buy a building, you're purchasing a very large piece of equipment, a line of credit's not a fit for that. That's where we want for a loan. But if you're on here today and you are going to need to buy some inventory on an ongoing basis, you don't always know when. Maybe your business has a lot of seasonality and there's 1 month or 2 months where you always know that your sales are going to be lower than usual and you just want a little extra cash to help with the payroll until you make it up. When your sales pick up, it's a perfect fit for a line of credit. So welcome to talk to Tracy about that. I know Rigo does lines of credit as well. Again, and I hope that you see the theme here. These guys are all on here today because they want what's best for you. They want to have a relationship with you where thankfully, I don't feel like anybody's ever here to compete in the city, not just between the four of you. Everybody really wants what is best for our small business owners. Thank you, Tracy. And Tracy will be on for Q&A in just a little bit as well. Last up, you get to meet Rigo Zapata. Rigo is an assistant vice president and also does commercial lending for Amarillo National Bank. Rigo's got a really, really rough life. He works at the branch at 34th and Coulter that's attached to Palace Coffee, so he stays caffeinated in his office. Rigo, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, everyone. How's it going? Glad to be here. And like Gina said, if y'all ever want to just stop by, say hi to me and chat, definitely buy y'all guys a coffee. But I also go by Rigo for short. So if y'all can't pronounce my full name, Rodrigo, that is my government name. And I just go by Rigo for short. So I'll be talking to y'all guys about traditional lending. So traditional lending, think about it as, us as lenders, we're providing loans to businesses based on their established criteria like creditworthiness, business history, and collateral. The process usually includes a thorough evaluation of the borrower's financial health and structured repayment plan with interest. So what does that mean? Anytime that you come and ask for a loan, we're going to ask you for those business documents, either whether it's your personal returns, you file an LLC, that's a Schedule C, so it's still under your personal returns, or if you file a different type of return, we'll need both business and personal returns. On our end, with traditional lending, we do require at least 2 years minimum in business. And the reason why we say 2 years, we think that's the sweet spot. Anything under 2 years, you're still kind of figuring out your business, how your cash flow works. And that once you hit that 2 year mark, there's at least historical numbers for us to be able to look at to see how that business is doing. Like Brian, all the guys on here, how they mentioned, we definitely want to look at your cash flow to see what your business can handle. We don't want to overextend you and give you a big loan where now you're not able to repay it and we're having to come after your collateral. So all of us are definitely here in best of you to help you grow in your business. And one of the things too here in Amarillo National, obviously we practice traditional lending, but we also do a lot of relationship banking, and that's what we do a lot. So relationship banking, I'll give you a quick little rundown, is we create connections and develop deep understanding of customers' unique banking needs so we can meet their short and long-term financial goals. So like Tracy mentioned, that line of credit, we have to determine whether you're good for that line of credit or if you want a permanent loan. And so the line of credit is for temporary financing to get by that inventory. But if you are looking into purchasing something big, that line of credit, your monthly payment is just interest only. So we don't want you to purchase a big type of machinery and then just be paying interest only. We want to help you term it out. That way you're paying principal and interest, and then you're using that line of credit just to fill that payroll out, or purchase that short-term inventory where you purchase something and then it takes you 20 to 30 days to eventually sell that inventory. Once you get paid, you pay that line of credit off, and then now you made a profit. So it's just revolving. And then on our end as well, we're almost, the liaisons, I can never pronounce that word. We're the liaisons between customers and banking administrations. So we are the customer's personal banker. Whenever you bring us your tax returns, it's our job to analyze all those tax returns. And depending on the size of the loan, we have to take it to our loan committee. So that's why it is really important for you to have the bookkeeper. That way you're focusing on your business and not in your business. You want to help your business grow, but you don't want to get stuck working on the day-to-day finances where you're having to call around and ask for help. With us being our personal banker, we want to help you, focus on the business rather than in the business, so we could be able to take care of your banking needs. So traditional banking also is, y'all mentioned the construction loan. So construction loans, we typically like you to be at least 2 to 5 years in business. So you can't be, 1 year in business looking into a $500,000 or $1 million property. We want to help you grow to whenever your business has enough capacity to be able to get into that building. Then you're able to get into it. Your cash flow is right. It's not too tight, and you're able to have that extra funds to be able to make that monthly payment. And one of the biggest things that I love is I look on the commercial side as creative lending. So every single customer is not the same. One loan might be completely different for the other loan. So for example, let's just say you do ag and it's Milo season or any type of season. We're able to structure a line of credit or even a permanent loan that says, hey, you don't have any payments, but principal and interest are due at maturity. So after your season is over, once you collect from all the farmers and picking up all that stuff, now you're able to just pay all that off in full. So every loan is honestly really specific to that customer and their needs. And like I said, I keep mentioning, we don't want to overextend you. We want to be able to offer you a loan that's going to help grow your business rather than hold it back and eventually run out of the business. So we want to help you grow. Anything that we help you with, we're always going to be your personal banker. We're not your business partner, but we're going to walk alongside you and help you grow. So if there's ever anything that y'all guys have a question on or anything, like I said, stop by the Palace Coffee Shop. Definitely buy you a coffee, and then we could chat. And all of us here, if I can't help you, definitely send people over to Tracy. There's loans that he can do that I can't do. So we're all just here working together to help businesses grow.
Oh, Rigo, thank you so much. I've already said I hope that everybody that's on today has figured out that it's really about the relationship and everybody here doing what's best for you. I hope now that you've gotten to hear about these 4 types of financing today, we've heard about microloans, CDFIs, lines of credits, and traditional financing. It's not a situation where you one of these and just the best fit for you, end of story. It's very common that these things are packaged together, and you may be using 2, 3, maybe all 4 different types of financing for your business. That is perfectly normal. It's a little bit harder, as Rigo mentioned, to get traditional commercial financing right off the bat if you're a brand new business and you don't have any history. Rigo is loaning out my money. He's loaning out your money because we all have our checking accounts at the bank. And so it's our deposits that are being loaned, and they are tasked with, thankfully, being responsible with our money that's being loaned out. And so if you walk into a bank and you want traditional financing and you're brand new in business, you have no history, maybe you don't have a lot of experience, that's a huge risk for our money. And that's a case where you may be a better fit for one of those programs like the microloans or perhaps a credit union where they're willing to take on some of those loans that are newer and where you don't have as much experience and maybe even a lower credit score. Awesome. Well, if anybody has any additional questions for Tracy or Rigo or the other 2, I can message later. You're welcome to enter those in chat right now, or you can also unmute yourself. On the screen right now, you've got access to everybody's names, who they are with, as well as their email addresses. So I encourage you to take a screenshot of that if you'd like it right now, but you'll also receive this information in the email that will go out tomorrow. Thank you all so much for joining us, and Tracy and Rigo especially. Thank you for taking the time to join in. I know you've got very busy days and weeks right now, so we greatly appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week and stay inside and stay cool.